well, it's high time we got rid of the old Virago stock warning light module. So I've made this little bracket and I've mounted it on where the mirror used to go. That was before I put the bar in mirrors on. I had to chop a bolt down and put these three little, let's call them LEDs, but they're not LEDs in. And I just need to splice them into where I've refitted the lighting cable. I've got them all labelled up as well, so from when I took it off, so I'll be able to easily just figure out which one goes where. But firstly, I need to make a cover for this. I just got this off the bike. I've taped it all up. I didn't need to do that. I was just trying to see if I could just fiberglass directly onto the tape, but that's going to be so scrappy, and I want it to be neat. Like I keep saying, it's a rat bike, but I want it to be neat. So anyway, what I've got is got this little discarded perfume bottle I've cut down. You can see I've left the neck on there, and what I'm going to do, it almost fits perfectly, turn it around the right way, is I'm going to use it as a plug to just make a fiberglass case, so you can see where that's going, can't you? And if I just rest it up on there, I've also got a little tube out of just off the end of a brand new spark plug, you know, the protector, and that'll sit on there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fiberglass directly onto this, just to make a case that just clicks on neatly over the top of this. Tendency to overdo this. By the time you've got it covered, it's covered. Don't need to carry on. It does seem to be quite effective, that hair wax, as a release agent. So yeah, pretty good. I'm going to try and do this in one hit. See, that's the problem when you get bits like that that just don't want to lay down. You get a bit more jollop on them, and that's no good because that's gone all ski whiff. Can't be having that. Yeah, sometimes you just need longer pieces that will they've just got a tiny bit more weight. Help! Trouble is, you could wait till it starts setting off, and then guess what happens? You can't put these. You know, the mixture you've got made up starts to go off, and you've wasted it. Which means just don't make too much in one go. I should have just done it. So I should have made the pieces a lot longer, and then the extra weight would have held them down. But they seem to be getting more springy. Seems to be behaving now. Just. Right, I need to make up some more mixture. if this doesn't work, it'll need a second go, but I've kind of already sussed. I didn't realise those bits were going to be difficult around the outsides, but I solved that by just putting a piece of horizontal bit around it. And I've just realised I haven't cut any pieces to go over the tube. Oops, that's split. Oh god. Okay, let's just take that off. Okay. Just like you would imagine with tissue, it is very, very delicate. So I just managed to tear that, so I'm just being gentler with this piece. I have to be so quick. Can't mess around with this stuff. Oh my word. Don't want this bit to split on me. Anyway, hopefully once we've got that all set off and dry and start to grind it down and offer it up to the part, it will look okay. If it looks terrible, I shall bin it. Look, there you go. See, that's getting right behind, so that's not at all stuck. It's being gripped in there in some way, but it's not stuck. So maybe it'll just prise out. Let's get some pliers on it. Definitely something to be said for using hair wax. See, that's not stuck, that's pulling away okay. Still being gripped in there in some way, but I suspect that's wow. Huh. Well, if this doesn't work out, I've still got the plugs. So you see it's a bit of a pickle at the moment. I need to grind off about that much, or use the cutting wheel off that little tunnel there, and I need to kind of grind all of this off, because I don't need all that surplus. I could leave it, I mean it's neat enough, and I probably need to cut it down to about there. So I'm going to set the grinder back up in the vise, and I know I shouldn't put a handheld grinder in a vise, but it's all I've got. Well, I've got a bench grinder, but not really with the right sort of cutting implements on, so and if I hold this in the vise, it will just get mashed. So that's how it fits in, and it unfortunately doesn't just slot. I was hoping it was going to be a nice little snug tight fit where it just pushed in and it kind of gripped itself, but you know, you can't get it exactly right, and I don't care. It looks terrible, but it's meant, well, it just looks rough really. It looks what it is, but I think it'll be right when it's finished. But if I had a Dremel, it's just a bit better for detail really. I'll use sort of a very coarse, what was this one, P40. Use that first. This was unplugged, by the way. But yeah, Dremel means I could just go over it really gently. You've got no control over the power of this thing, unfortunately. Damn. That was too fierce in itself, so I'll need to just patch that. Never mind. But you can see what I'll do, I'll finish it and then I'll patch it. All I need to do is get a bit of tissue and build that back up, and then when it sets off, sand it back down again. That's fine. Everything else is all right. You've got a tiny little hole there I'll fill, and a couple of bits there. I just need to pour some resin in, and there, and then it should be fine. Right, so that's all repaired. So these bits here have got some more resin in, and it was this side that I had to repair, so I put a piece across there and I put a piece along there, and that's made up that corner essentially. So you can see that's all back and good, just needs grinding down, and I put a couple of pieces of tissue across the middle as a strengthener, and that should be all good. So I'm going to get it back on the sander and just do all the finishing work on it, because I do want it to look reasonably good. It doesn't need to be perfect, it doesn't need to look factory, but that is not too bad. Go, the finished article. I'm just going to give the surface a bit of a sand down with a piece of sandpaper, not on that, and ready for painting. So I've just labelled up this end of the wiring, so I know which to connect to which, because I know what all these are, and I've just put some insulating tape around the end. So really just the last jobs to finish off is to glue this case on, or glue the lighting into the case. So that it sits firm and neatly. I'm just going to use some contact adhesive for that, because it goes kind of like a resin once it's fully set off. So I'm just going to pour it into there, and she should look something like that, without the strapping, obviously. You're probably thinking, oh my god, what have you done to this bike? I'm not going mental with this. Just letting it run down and in. Bit like what you'd use for, not that I've ever done this, not even as a kid, but aircraft model making, you know, that kind of stuff. So you can kind of get the idea of the effectiveness of it. Okay, I think that's just about ready.